How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to show you the behind the scenes of the video that you just saw and also the editing breakdown. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to show you now basically just the sound effects with the video, and I'm going to take the music out just so you kind of can see what I did with the video and how I pieced it together, and then I'll give you a little bit more details with that. And yeah, there you go. That was basically the video with just the sound effects. So I'm going to kind of expand this a little bit and go back to the beginning just because I want to kind of show you a little bit of what I use. So this was my sound effects little folder that I went, and I used most of the stuff from like Storyblocks and Epidemic Sound. So some of the stuff, like for example, this one is just basically a little beeping that I got. That's just basically right here what it sounds like. Essentially, that's the actual kind of sound of the beeping of the machine that I actually have. The only reason I didn't use the original sound is, well, it doesn't sound as clean, and I had some TV in the background because obviously I wanted to stay a little bit focused, having some fun stuff as well while I was basically stringing this racket. So this is basically what I do for my social media for my tennis academy. I create these videos to promote whether it's the tennis academy classes or the services that we provide, whether it's stringing, private lessons, gear that people want to get, since we're sponsored by Babelot, my academy. So basically that's just how I do to promote itself. So that's why you hear this little beep right here, beep. And so if I play it, it just goes as it turns on. The little wiring, I actually couldn't find anything that sounded exactly like it, but it's close enough to the original. So I just used a tape rewind. So if I go to the original videos, let me see, right here, when I turn it on, you'll kind of hear the sound as well. Oh. Right, here's it. I turn it on right here. You can faintly hear like the rewind of it, and it's not like too noticeable, I guess, if you will, of the sound, but I just wanted to incorporate it because I feel like it would add more to just the shot itself. And then I added this like kind of like a whoosh riser kind of style right here because it's just spinning. I had to use a little bit of a rope sound from it because obviously I don't have like a stringing racket stringing kind of sound, and I could have done my own, but it worked out just well enough to kind of like blend in together for the sound right there. The rewind, same thing with the rope sound, just kind of did a little bit of clanking sound just like for the clamps that are right there as they move, and then just got a little bit of more of the rope sound to pull that down again. Little whoosh just to kind of like as I'm going back, just because there's a filler sound for the most part with this. You can't really, I mean, I don't want to go too in depth with adding too much of it because it's just a simple kind of video anyway. So right there I used this basically sound of I guess you could say it was like I think it was like the rope twist or rope slider or something like that, and then had that little it's like a toolbox how they close it, just used that right there so it just falls down because it's this one right here actually, so this is the whole sound of it. And then right here I just used a little bit of a slide of a rope. This one I didn't really have any sound that I wanted to use, so I kind of just put something of like the toolbox kind of style of this and just used it 3 times, so it was just whatever it was, just to kind of keep it there. And then towards the end I started adding the little rope slide, but then also did this kind of, I guess this is a rope twist one that I used because right here, yeah, since you're kind of like twisting it right there, kind of just made sense. So then we went and cut it right there, and then a little whoosh sound kind of to pick it up. moving the strings with just some rope kind of style, and then finishing it off. Now we're going to reveal a little bit of the behind the scenes and how I set it all up. I basically just used one key light when it came down to the setup. I wanted to use just kind of as much natural light as I could, and then also just have one key light to focus more on the lighting. So I set up both my cameras, just basically kind of shifting around since I was doing it all solo. And that kind of helped me out to just figure out what I wanted to get more in depth with the angles and get up close and personal. I used my 28-75 Tamron and my 70-180 Tamron as well. That way I could have two different focal lengths and get different angles, and also how close I would get to the certain shots just to show the certain details that I wanted to make sure that I focused on as I was stringing the racket. So I would just literally kind of film a little bit, then go stop the camera, and then go back into setting up a different angle. That's just basically how I kind of had to do it, obviously, since I was filming this solo and I couldn't add as much motion as I wanted to. I would add it a little bit sometimes here and there with just tilting the tripod or turning the racket, and that was the type of motion that I wanted to add to make sure that I had just some sort of movement, since it was very much still kind of video with the tripod. So just take it as I, kind of had to add it my own way without having to have a certain person help me out to get more movement. But with all this setup, it just helped me out to get more creative with setting up different angles, different movement in that certain way. So that's basically how I kind of kept everything going. I just made sure that the angles just showcase whatever I wanted to, and make sure that it just shows the main details that I wanted to capture when showing how I strung the racket, so that future clients can see, the professionalism, if you will, how smooth it looks, how well the rackets will turn out to be, so they want to come and get their racket strung by me. So this is how I added a little bit of motion to my video. I just kind of started turning the racket around, and just that way can show a little bit of a different kind of movement without having to move the camera exactly. Then I made sure to get some lower angles of the clamps, so that way people can just get a little bit more of the look of the stringing machine, and just have a different perspective as well, and showing them how it all works out, and just showing them a little bit of behind the scenes of how I string the racket, so that they know that they're well taken care of. Now I use my teleconverter kind of attachments for my lenses to add it to the 70-180, so I could get a lot more detailed kind of shots. That way I can make sure that I would have those nice shots that I showed you guys in the full breakdown, that shows basically how the string is going through the motions, or when I tie it off, to show nice and close, basically just how it looks and how it feels like up close and personal, the string, showing just the texture of it, and then just showing the final end result when I'm tying the knot right here. So that's mainly the main focus of why I use the teleconverter attachment to my lens, just to make it a little bit up closer and just basically get the whole frame fold and everything like that. So that's basically why I did that. So here I had to make sure that I was basically focusing on the cutting of the string, just because I wanted to be nice and in focus. So I had to kind of look down, and then once I noticed that it was right or not, I would go back and forth to kind of fix it, and then just to make sure that I got it nice and smooth, to showcase basically me cutting the string, so it just looks a lot nicer, and just basically show the end result, and then kind of go off of that. But now here I am just setting up the camera for the final basically shot of me taking the racket off of the stringing machine, and then just basically showcasing it to the end, and basically to wrap up the video as much as possible and have every shot that I wanted to have. I kind of improv most of the video anyway. I didn't have a storyboard, so in case you were wondering, I did not have a storyboard. I just kind of winged it and just get different angles, and that was pretty much it. That was basically the edit and breakdown of how I filmed and how I basically edited the whole video. Showed you a little bit of the behind the scenes, just to kind of see it that you can do it all on your own if you need to. Obviously, it would have been nicer to have a lot more movement, having somebody helping me out with everything, but I didn't use this as an excuse to not create at all. Usually most of the time, all these videos that I make them by myself. Sometimes my wife helps me out, but other than that, it's just basically me doing all the work, whether it comes to filming, taking the photos, editing, and all that stuff. So I try not to have an excuse of not being able to create, so I just go ahead and make it happen, whether I have somebody helping me out or not. I just try to stay creative as much as possible to make sure that I just stay with it and create and have fun with the process of it. I truly just enjoy making videos, so it's very fun to just have an idea, execute it, and then see the end result, and just kind of go and notice like the growth that I've had over the years. So just having fun with that. So hopefully this helped you out to see a little bit behind the scenes of how I filmed it, how I edited, and the breakdown of it, and hopefully this will help you out to just go out and create no matter what. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.